Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Horrible headlines I read Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And interested to know what your thoughts on the situation is with Ukraine and Russia, especially given your study of history and how you've implemented that in your books. I know you've done a lot of research, but you're familiar with war. You're familiar with the outcome. I'd like to know, what are people going to be writing about 50 years from now about this?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm just really rooting for the civilians and the Ukrainian army that are somehow, I'm sure you guys have been watching the videos that have come out, it's never on the real news. I don't know what's wrong with the real news. It's only, like people posting on crazy sites, but
Instagram's a good source for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Twitter too.
Yeah. But I'm certainly on their side, and I'm sort of praying that these are not just isolated, cherry-picked stories of, one Russian convoy that gets hit with RPGs and gets stopped,
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile the juggernaut is rolling on. But it's so hard to know what's really happening over there.
Yeah,
it really
takes time to come out. I mean, I sort of put myself in the position of like one of these young Russian soldiers, and that they have to invade. And I would imagine that their feeling is a lot like Americans being sent into Vietnam. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I really want to die. You know, the Ukrainians are like our brothers, basically, right? And they're standing up, and we've got I can't believe anybody's got any real enthusiasm going in there. I think it's probably a death trap. What a place to die, terrible place to die. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope this is a complete debacle for Putin and that the whole thing blows up in his face. And, so I'm not sure if that's answering your question.
No, that's great. That's great.
Well, there's a little bit of precedent for that because the Ukrainians launched a counteroffensive a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And struck into Russian territory.
They did. They hit an airbase, a Russian airbase.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw that. I was like, impressive.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of fantastic stories coming out of this. We don't know how it's going to end.
Might make a good.
Supposedly, our intelligence services and Europeans are sharing, real time satellite intelligence. Like, there's a column coming down, this highway, a Russian column, and you can head them off at such and such a place, or whatever. I'm really fascinated to hear those stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are all kinds of vets and hardcore contractor type of dudes on our side that are heading over there as fast as they can get there to help any way they can.
Yeah, a friend of my wife's has a son who served. He was born in Ukraine, and then they moved over here when he was 3. He grew up here, American citizen, served in the Marines, and then he's out of the Marines now. But he's trying to get over there to go fight. He's like, that's where I was born. It's my homeland. I got to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to do that, I think.
Yeah.
What's your take on this, Nick? What do you think?
Well, it's hard, like you said, it's hard to know what to believe. I mean, you have the mainstream media, which nobody trusts any facet of the mainstream media anymore. You don't know if you can. And so you just pick up what you can. But I do like some of the stories coming out. For me, it's interesting to see the Ukrainian president staying there.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he? He's made a name for himself with this.
He was an actor, producer.
Yeah.
He made a movie about
a TV show
about
being president of Ukraine.
Yeah, and then after that, he became
president of Ukraine.
But I like that. I like that he's being visible. He's on the front lines there. He's kind of leading from the front. He's keeping spirits high, or trying to keep spirits high. And I loved that. I love 2 things about this guy that I like. One, he's one of 4. He's the grandson of one of 4 brothers, 3 of which were killed by the Nazis.
Oh, okay.
His grandfather, he's a Jewish Ukrainian. His grandfather's a Jewish Ukrainian. He was the only brother left that didn't get killed during World War II, and his grandson ends up being the president of Ukraine. And so here this guy is. He's the president now, and for me, that's really cool. Great kind of backstory to him. What I like most about him is when Biden offered to send some of our forces into Ukraine as an evacuation. We asked, "Do you want us to come evacuate you?" And his response, the Ukrainian president Zelensky, his response was, I need ammunition, not a ride."
Yeah, I need ammo.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great one.
That's got balls, baby.
Big, you got to carry him over your shoulder right there. That's how big his whats are.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, we could go on for another hour, but I want to be very conscientious of your time.
Well,
so
we'll save it for another time, Jonathan.
Yeah,
sounds
I
great.
know. We
love
literally didn't even get halfway through our questions. I had so many about, like, what's your favorite part of Virtues of War? Like, which philosopher is your favorite? Whatever, all this stuff. So Stephen Pressfield, the author of A Man at Arms, which is going to be out in paperback at the end of March. Is that right?
Yep.
A Man at Arms is a beautiful and powerful book made for the silver screen, reads like a movie. It takes place in the 1st century AD. It's absolutely fantastic. Everybody should read it. Stephen, you're renowned. You're a household name for the War of Art. You're near and dear to our hearts for Gates of Fire.
Yep.
Do the work. No one wants to read your shit. I mean, the list goes on and on. You really are the Jedi Master of writing. We are the humble Padawans.
We are the Padawans
who are happy to move a stone. So we always enjoy it. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
It's great hanging out with you, Goslings. And
you
doing
too.
Toast with you. So anytime, and I will be in touch with you for some advice on starting my own little publishing business.
Man, that is
absolutely
exciting.
We'll be happy to
help
help
exciting.
You.
I'll tell you, however I can help.
Yeah,
great.
Say the word. I'm in. You bet.
All right, guys, and thanks to everybody that's listening.
Absolutely. Bye, Steve.
Bye,
Take
Steve.
care.